It's the Senate Environmental Natural Resource Finance Committee. We call it to order Tuesday, March 8th, 2022. Members, and for the audience, we're going to be laying all three of these bills over. We have three today, two by Senator Webber and one by Senator Howe. So with that, we'll start out. Senator Webber, Senate File 3044. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Chair Ingebretson and members. I'm pleased to bring to you Senate File 3044 today. It is a bill that enhances efforts to keep water on the land with an appropriation for it. I may serve as a Senate appointee on the Legislative Subcommittee on Water Policy. This is a bill which has come out as a list on the list of bills that they are recommending. And it's important because we all understand that water is an important issue in Minnesota, and dealing with it is an expensive, sometimes controversial, and complex issue. And so what this bill does, it provides an allocation to increase efforts and create a policy and plans to reduce flood peaks in priority areas that are used for water storage, groundwater recharge, and water quality improvements in rural and urban areas. As we look at rural areas, we see many areas of wetland that, quite frankly, have no doubt been put into production. And yet there are many avenues by which groundwater can be retained. Some people talk about tile drainage, but actually what tile drainage does, it allows soil to absorb more water, and in a period of heavy rainfall, actually keep more water available on the land and actually discharge it in a controlled process. And as we look at urban water, stormwater retention, we see that there's been many areas whereby when road projects, their holding ponds are created, stormwater for stormwater capture and retention. And I think we do that because we believe that it is important, that it is helpful, but yet at the same time, we maybe don't necessarily understand all the results or implications that that type of thing creates. And so in this bill, we are asking for additional funding to help provide that type of analysis and also to continue on a road that we have already started talking about water storage on our land. With me today, Mr. Chair and members, I have Scott Sparlin, Rob Sipp, and Jim Stark, who I believe is joining us through the computer, and they would like to comment regarding this bill.
Okay, Senator, which one would you like to go first?
Well, I think we'll take them in the order you have them listed there. We have Mr. Scott Sparlin, and then Mr. Rob Sipp, and then Mr. Stark, who is the director of the Legislative Subcommittee on Water Policy, can finish it up.
Okay, Mr. Sparlin, welcome to the committee. Please identify yourself and go ahead with your testimony.
I'm Scott Sparlin, the coordinator and facilitator of the Minnesota River Congress and the executive director of the Coalition for a Clean Minnesota River. This is my 33rd year working on Minnesota River watershed issues. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this important and needed situation. We've reached a water management crisis in Minnesota, certainly not limited to anywhere in the state, but especially evident in the Minnesota River watershed. Due to land use practices, both urban and rural, we now have reached the point that if we do not begin to both temporarily and permanently store more water, we will continue to experience increased collective infrastructural, societal, and business losses at an unacceptable rate, putting many Minnesotans at risk. Exacerbating this condition is the climatic trend and future prediction of increased rainfalls in short periods of time. The combination of all these factors leads first to small and medium-sized tributary stream bank erosion, then dislodged sediments combined with the increased rate flows enable even more sediments and nutrients to be delivered to our lakes, major tributaries, main stems, and where they flow downstream to the Mississippi River, Lake Pepin, and ultimately the Gulf of Mexico. We are a water-blessed state, and the time to invest in a major water storage initiative is upon us. The compelling data concerning the need, especially in the Minnesota River Basin, has been thoroughly studied and is well documented. The fact is, most of society has observed and intuitively known this for a long time. We have engineered ourselves into this condition, and we also have the technical know-how to mitigate it. We now need the commitment and the significant financial resources to accomplish the goal. In many cases, our government, all of us, of course, paid to create the challenges we're faced with. The time is now for all of us to come together for the greater good of future generations of Minnesotans and those downstream. This is not an investment we can ignore, or we will pay much higher prices in short years to come. It is our belief that we need specifically targeted temporary and permanent water storage funds to be directed to the implementers, such as soil and water conservation districts, watershed districts, and participating willing landowners. Extensive scientific data collected over decades shows clearly that we need to put more water storage on the landscape. Excuse me. Additional water storage will protect infrastructure, improve water quality. Diverse water storage practices, such as replacing historically drained lakes and wetlands and increasing soil health, will all help to achieve this goal. The climatic trend and future prediction of increased rainfalls in short periods of time will only exacerbate the issue. The Minnesota River Congress is using the collaborative for sediment source reduction and management options simulation model study recommendations in conjunction with the rich data sets available through the state agency monitoring and assessment conservation targeting to support the case for the need for more water storage. We have enlisted researchers at state agencies and elsewhere who have completed studies to help provide data and documentation. After over 3 years and 25 basin-wide meetings attended by a diverse cross-section of the population, it has become very apparent that any way water storage in any form can be accomplished is of the utmost priority. Over and over from every part of the basin, we have heard water storage has to be addressed if we're going to be serious about protecting our infrastructure and improving our surface water. The good news is it can be achieved without adversely affecting agribusiness or community development. We simply need it to be realistically funded to the degree that it needs to be effective. It already has been prioritized by the implementers. We have written support from numerous entities supporting our efforts to see this come to fruition. Excuse me. Here is a daily list of support, daily growing list of support, I should say. And you all should have that in your handout. The various cities are I think there's 13 cities there. And also you should have members, example of the resolutions that were passed, a resolution that was passed by these various entities that are on the list there. And with that, I thank you for your time, and I will take any questions you may have for me.
Thank you, Mr. Sparlin, for your testimony, as well as the time that you put in over the years. There's many that have up and down the Red River Valley that I know of that have done that as well. And I understand your concern. Can you answer one question? Project Area 2, is that included the Red River Valley, Greater Blue Earth River Basin?
That is in the Minnesota Basin. Area 2 is.
Okay. Are there any large impounds or at all in that area?
Excuse me?
Large impounds of water that can be controlled, any controllers?
Well, there's we have one dam that I know of that was put in years ago in Western Brown County, the Wilner-Hageman Dam, which is on a tributary. But for the most part, Area 2 has done quite a bit of this work. I can't speak to many examples that I know of personally. That's not my bailiwick. You're
familiar with the ones in the upper northern Red River Valley?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's kind of what you're what you're kind of shooting for, those types?
Well, you know, where you can, I think we're in the Minnesota basin is a different place
Okay.
than the Red Basin.
Yeah, it's real flat up
It's
there.
it's kind of a different breed of cat.
Definitely.
Yeah. And so what I think we're looking for is more of a comprehensive approach to this. It could be a 1 acre wetland to the return of a 500 acre formerly drained lake, you know, that where multiple landowners get together and put in a significant amount of storage. So this runs the gamut. I'm looking for our experts in this area to, you know, to come up with those types of solutions. And there are people and willing landowners out there waiting to get involved in this, definitely.
Members, any questions of the testifier so far? You know, when you talk about restoration projects and wetlands, Senator Webber, I know you know that Legacy and LCCMR are areas that, you know, do fund projects like that as well. So, you know, keep your avenues open. Yeah, we're going to be laying this all over, but that's just something for the future to be looking at. Especially if it's into restoration projects and you know, refilling. Actually, what brings to mind is the Lake Roseau of all things. And I come from that part of the country and didn't realize that there was a Lake Roseau at one time. And it was interesting that they wanted to try and fill that back up with water. And of course, that would have done a lot for habitat, which, you know, is part of those particular funds. So, okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the other testifier, Mr. Sip.
Rob Sip.
There you go.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please identify yourself and go ahead with your testimony.
Thank you. My name is Robert Sip. I'm the Executive Director of the Red River Watershed Management Board. And I want to thank Senator Webber for introducing this bill because it's a timely and important piece that we all need to work on. The Red Board does support this bill and what it works towards. It actually does recognize the need for a statewide and comprehensive approach to water storage. And timing is critical right now because our friends over at the National Weather Service and the State Climatology Office tell us that the magnitude, frequency, and intensity of storms is increasing, and time is of the essence for all of us to come together to work on this. Funding and consistent funding is a need, and it's challenging. And currently, when we're working on larger water storage projects and flood damage reduction projects, we work through the flood hazard mitigation program that's managed by the Minnesota DNR. And those funds are all pass-through funds to local units of government, primarily for city projects and also watershed districts projects that are including both water storage and flood damage reduction. And currently the known need right now, according to DNR data, is about $160 million statewide for all those projects that are in their current list of need. And the challenge is right now in the governor's budget, there's $20 million, so there's a little bit of a shortfall. So again, we want to work together to bump that funding up. And when we're looking at doing these projects, one of the bigger challenges too is dealing with the patchwork of funding, because sometimes a project may take anywhere from 3 to 7 or more funding partners. And when you start throwing in all those timelines and deadlines, processes and procedures for all those different entities, it can be a real challenge. And then if you throw the weather on top of that, it can make it real difficult to get projects to the finish line. And we believe that this bill will help move water storage projects across the state to the finish line so that we can increase resiliency by protecting public and private infrastructure, and also future federal infrastructure investments that'll be coming our way soon through the bills passed signed into law by President Biden. And then also cultural and social capital in a local way of life, which we believe is critically important. And also water storage projects across the state will add to the existing water storage and flood damage reduction infrastructure that's out there across the state. And it'll also increase or add, excuse me, to the overall base of natural resources in Minnesota. So how can the Red Board assist with this effort? Again, we thank you for being part of this. We are willing to share our model of how it's been working for us for about 45 years. We're not saying it's the only model, but it's the model that has been working for us for many years, for over 4 decades. We do have a flow reduction strategy, a funding process, and technical review. And maybe for another time, we do have a 1998 flood mediation agreement that really pulls all the partners together, and it's a comprehensive approach to water storage for habitat, water quality, flood control, and water storage in the Red River Basin of Minnesota. So we definitely want to collaborate further with the state of Minnesota, the legislature, and all the partners to meet local, state, and even regional water storage goals. And we believe our model has worked well, and it's led to 60 flood damage reduction and water storage projects, and also 300 farmstead ring dikes since 1976. So on a parting note, according to the National Institute of Building Sciences, $1 invested in hazard mitigation saves $6. And there's quite a bit of information out there on that report. So thank you, and we definitely appreciate the opportunity to hear this morning.
Thank you, members. Any questions of the testifier? Sounds like this investment is going to do a little better than the stock market right now, anyhow. Yeah, I don't have any questions, members. Mr. Stark, thank you for your testimony, Mr. Stark.
Thank you.
Mr. Stark, welcome to the committee.
Mr. Chair and members, thank you. My name is Jim Stark. I'm the director of the Legislative Subcommittee on Water Policy. Thank you for the opportunity to discuss Senate File 3044 with you today. As Senator Webber mentioned, this bill comes out of the stakeholder process from the subcommittee over the summer. We held several hearings and surveys to try to prioritize water issues. Senator Webber really covered the points that I had to say, did that very adequately and good. So I will forego those, and I'll just close by saying this. This bill provides monies to assess those areas of the state that are best suited for additional water retention projects, then provides funds for implementation and construction of structures on the land. It paves the way really for a statewide water retention program. And with that, Mr. Chair, Senator Webber has covered my points, and thank you very much. And I would stand for questions now if you have them.
Thank you for your testimony. I don't see any questions, any further questions. Members, I thank you, Mr. Stark. If there are any questions here in the next minute or two, they'll raise their hand here. But we do have a fiscal note, and I'd like Mr. Mueller possibly to take a look at that and describe what. I know it's an open appropriation on here, or the bill has got zero appropriation, and being that we're laying it over, we can figure that out moving forward. But can you go through that for us a little bit, Mr. Mueller?
Sure, Mr. Chairman, the fiscal note is still actually being requested on this bill, and the fiscal note will probably address the plan part of the bill. The bill is somewhat, you can overlap it with what the governor has proposed. The governor has proposed spending about $50 million for water storage projects through Bowser, and also about $54 million through PCA. The PCA request is probably more tied to wastewater or stormwater infrastructure in cities. But the fiscal note is being requested, and like I said, the fiscal note will probably address the plan part of the bill, but the bill also does, has a amount of money that we would appropriate for projects. So
This is more.
probably need to separate the two parts of the bill a little bit as we get the fiscal note back.
Okay. Members, any questions on that? Senator Webber.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Certainly, I appreciate your consideration of this bill. And I think in the future, there may be indeed specific projects that need to come in front of LCCMR. I believe at this point, in order, however, to get a water storage program truly up and running, we probably need to look, at a state effort and make sure that we have the framework and the guidelines adequately in place for various individual projects to move forward. So I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. And again, we'll be laying Senate File 3044 over. Stay where you're at.
Yes.
Here we are. The next bill up is Senator Webber, Senate File 3113.
Thank you, Mr.
Senator
Chair.
Webber.
members, I'd pleased to bring you Senate File 3113. This deals with Aquifer Properties Database. You know, over the course of years, every time that there is a application for a new city well, irrigation well, et cetera, there's a certain level of groundwater models that need to be put together, test wells drilled and that type of thing. And then a few years go by and all of a sudden someone does something in the same area and they go through the entire process again, simply because we aren't necessarily saving the information that should be saved. And so the purpose of this bill, original request was 250,000. We'll talk about the fiscal note here later. But what we're really asking for is for this information to be secured in a database that will allow future projects to draw on this information, and we don't have to keep reinventing the wheel every time that there's a project that's talked about. And I think that it's interesting to note that there has been, the database has been designed by an interagency work group after 6 years of work, and that the DNR staff has prioritized focus areas across the state. But technically, there really is no dedicated staff to work on this. You know, once a backlog is taken care of, information is appropriately entered, it should be an issue that is continued to be maintained on an ongoing basis. However, at this point, I would like to turn the testifiers table over to Dr. Kerry Jennings from Freshwater, who would like to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Chair Ingebrigtsen. Members, it's nice to be here in person to actually testify for Senate File 3113. I think since it's kind of a short, oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Kerry Jennings, Research and Policy Director at Freshwater.
Thank you.
I think since this is such a short bill and it does get kind of into the weeds on databases, I should start by explaining why it's significant in maybe a way that is understandable to someone who's not a geologist. We want to perform these tests on aquifers, as Senator Webber described, where aquifers are saturated layers of sand and gravel or bedrock. We want to do this because it's kind of like a stress test, conducting a stress test on the aquifer. You want to pump water for a number of days to see how the water table is lowered around that well, but also how far away from that well the water table is lowered. And the configuration of these tests varies just depending on the available wells. The duration varies depending on the pump that you have and how thick the aquifer is and other variables like that. Some of these tests can last for 30 days, 70 days. And the water that's pumped from these wells is discharged to the surface during that time point. So that should make you think, first of all, that although necessary, repeating these tests is really wasteful, not just of money, but of water. So this bill prioritizes data entry for these pump tests. The DNR is the agency that does this aquifer data. We need specialists who are good at looking at these reports because they have different parameters. Each one might have been configured slightly differently. And so you need a specialist, a very high level hydrologist to read the reports. And then you can have maybe a lower level hydrologist do the data entry. If that explanation doesn't work for you, the way I try to think of this is maybe in the medical realm, where you might go into the doctor's office and they might hear something odd with your heart with a stethoscope. Then you might have varying levels of tests going forward that are more and more time consuming, expensive, and intrusive, like wearing a heart monitor or doing a stress test on a treadmill. And if you are then referred to a cardiologist, you would want all of those tests to go with you. And so that's what this is. This is taking those various tests that are done on aquifers, making sure they're available so that when a specialist needs to look at the data, it's there. So we're asking for this to be done in a database that's already constructed. There are some tweaks that are needed. After this was presented in the House, it became clear that although we were allowing for the cost of a senior level hydrologist, they probably need the junior level hydrologist as well. And the database as designed by Minute does have some little things that could be improved. One is as simple as being able to alphabetize the entries. So things like that, software engineering on the front end that make it easier for the DNR employees to enter the data. And then on the back end, although the data are available now through the Minnesota Geospatial Commons So you can download what they call shape files, make a map. Some people might still want to see the original reports. And these people I'm referring to would be like groundwater modelers, consultants for cities. So we're proposing to increase the amount that's requested to match the fiscal note amount, which was 411,000. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, 441,000. It still is a really prudent investment, and I'm sorry this looks like a boring bill. It's a good government bill to make this data available going forward.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a boring bill. Sometimes, as those that have been here a while know, that smaller bills can sometimes create a lot of work. No question about that. We do have any questions of the testifier? Otherwise, we do have a fiscal note. Mr. Mueller.
Mr. Chairman and members, the fiscal note should be included in your packet. It's labeled right now as House File 3004, which is the companion to Senate File 3113. But the bills are the same, and we can work off the fiscal note on the House file. And basically, what the fiscal note says, if we turn to page 3 of the fiscal note, it lays out the separate costs. There's one $137,000 for one FTE senior hydrologist, and then $159,000 for 1.5 FTEs junior hydrologist that was mentioned. And then the minute cost would be $125,000, and $30,000 of that is for the database refinements that were mentioned. And then $95,000 for a website and interface. So these would be all one-time costs. And again, it's 421,000, which the fiscal note states. And so that would be instead of the 250 that's in the bill as requested.
Okay, members, any questions on the fiscal note? Senator Webber, the bill says 250.
That's correct. And that was the original estimate. And then the fiscal note came in to allow for additional software, computer needs, et cetera, all those type of things that are required in terms of this type of storage. And, and I'm certainly comfortable with that amount. I think the importance of the issue is justifies that amount. And then also, Mr. Chair, I'd like to mention that the DNR has an individual that wishes to testify as well.
Sure. So who from the DNR would like to testify? Do I have a name here? I'm sorry.
Mr. Jason Meckel.
There you go. Mr. Meckel, are you there?
I am, Mr. Chair. Thank you. And members, for the record, Jason Meckel, I'm a section manager for the inventory monitoring and analysis section within the Division of Ecological and Water Resources. The work that has been described here very well by Senator Webber and Dr. Jennings is work that we do in our section. We've been working on this. Has been a very interagency collaborative effort. And we support the effort here and the funding to help us. Really what this would do is accelerate the pace of our progress. We've been trying to chip away at it within our existing resources. We've been squeezed pretty hard last year with the drought and short some staff with the pandemic. So this would help us get this project up to speed, do it right, make it available, make it accessible, make all the data accessible, and make sure that these data are maintained for the long haul and we don't lose them in old paper files somewhere. I can answer any questions, but I think the other testifiers have done an excellent job of describing the work.
Well, I do have a question for you. You've been collecting data from wells for years throughout the state. Specifically, I know about wells and information coming from the irrigation folks in the state of Minnesota. So are you telling me there's no database for that now, or how are you keeping that policy now, or that information now?
Mr. Chair and members, the aquifer test data was the database was constructed to host this aquifer test data that we're talking about here. That's a very specific thing that's done as was described by Senator Webber and Dr. Jennings. before a permit is issued. And when the permit is issued, we're getting information back from all water appropriators as to the amount of water they've used, and then any additional monitoring data that's required as part of that permit in an adjacent well nearby. That data is also stored in its own databases. So all of the data that we have is now got a database, a safe home, and it's designed to meet data management, data governance standards.
So the information that you gather from, let's say, an ag well issue, agricultural well issue, that information goes to you for the permitting process. Is that accessible then by the general public?
Some of the information that would be on a permit application is going to be in our permit files, and it can be requested, but it's not available on a searchable database accessible to the public. The well construction information is available. So when a well driller drills the well for the irrigation well, or anybody for that matter, they file a report, a well log. That information is available as to the depth of the well, the material they went through, so on and so forth. If I'm not answering your question, Senator, please clarify.
No, that's fine. We can probably go offline a little bit later on if you can remember to give me a call or stop by. I'd like to talk a little further about that data. Members, any further questions at all from any of the testifiers? Anybody else in the audience that you have, Mr. Webber?
No,
Senator
that
Webber?
I believe
Okay.
is it.
Anybody that would like to testify either for or against the bill? Seeing none, thank you very much, and we'll lay it over for possible inclusion.
And Senator Ingebrigtsen, I would just like to mention, if you go to the second page of the fiscal note, there is a list of items of things that are there to do, and it talks about the number of available test data sets that are there. How many have actually been entered, how many need to be entered, and how many aren't available to be entered yet just because of additional information needed. And I think that's what this bill is intended to cover at the end of the day, as well as new tests that come up.
Seems to make a lot of sense to have that data and keep it recorded for sure.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chair.
Okay, we'll be laying that over Senate File 3113 for possible inclusion. Next up, we have Senate File 3410. I did see the senator here. I'll be right back, I guess. So we'll wait for Senator Howe.
You can bring that up.
Let's make it clear for the record, this is for demonstration only. There isn't anybody here right here now that needs that. Or at least we don't think. But one never knows. I might look up and down the line and ask, wasn't there somebody that said we should be prompt to our meetings some time ago? Do you remember who that was?
But I do believe I said, don't wait for me.
Oh,
Go
that's
ahead.
what it was. Okay, all right. I just had that in the back of my mind, but no. We know that you're in another committee, so Senator Howe, Senate File 3410.
Thank you, Mr.
Welcome to the
Chair.
committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Senate File 3410 is a bill to allow us to put automatic defibrillators, external defibrillators, or more commonly known as AEDs, In places throughout the state, as you may know, no one plans a heart attack. It happens in probably sometimes in the most inconvenient of places. And most of the places where we do have AEDs located are in buildings and locked up. Not all heart attacks happen in buildings. And so what this bill would do was appropriate money to the Advocates for Health to install AEDs in external cabinets and outside in the outdoors. These cabinets are heated for the wintertime, cooled in the summertime, and they have a tracking device in them. They're connected either by cell phone or internet. So it's quite a cabinet. And what this would do is put them throughout the state and have them accessible for folks who experience the terrible incident of having a heart attack, and this would allow them to be there. So when Advocates for Help install these, what they must do is they have to, the agency that that controls the location where this is going to go in have to agree to the specific location where it's going to go. Advocates for Health are going to have to not only install and operate and maintain these devices, but they'll have to do it for 8 years. And then they have to also register these IDs or the AEDs and put them on a registry so you can actually, if you need them, find them. And so they'll be registered with a net registry that will, so everyone knows where they're at. And with that, Mr. Chair, I would like to go to the testifiers.
Very good. Come forward, please, and identify yourself. Welcome to the committee. Whoever would like to start.
Good morning. My name is Joel Vogel.
Go ahead, Mr. Vogel.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Joel Vogel. I'm the Program Director for Advocates for Health. And thank you, Mr. Chair and Senators, for being here this morning. I actually thought that was a grand entrance, Jeff, when you came in. I thought it was pretty well planned.
It was staged.
It was staged. Okay. One of the handouts we have and things I want to testify is about heart attacks and things. Just a question real quick. Anybody in this room have a heart attack? Looks like I'm the only one. And that's kind of what got me going. 17 years ago, I had a heart attack, and it made me aware of what's going on. And I've had several relatives pass away from sudden cardiac arrest. Sudden cardiac arrest is different than a heart attack. Sudden cardiac arrest is the electrical part of the heart. There's no symptoms at all. All of a sudden, your heart quits beating. And the only cure for sudden cardiac arrest is an AED. And you only have 10 minutes before the brain or the heart quits functioning, saying, shock me. 350,000 sudden cardiac arrests in the United States. That's the leading cause of deaths in the United States. It's estimated that 95% of the victims are going to die before they reach the hospital. So that's only a 5% survival rate. 1,000 people per day are killed per person. 1,000 people per day, that's one person every 2 minutes in the United States that's killed. The economic burden of sudden cardiac arrest in the United States is about $600,000. And for every $1 spent on public access defibrillation, a $7 return, it comes back to society. Some of the other interesting facts from the DefibTech is among student athletes, sudden cardiac arrest is the leading cause of death. The leading cause of death on school campuses is cardiac arrest. 23,000 people under the age of 18 are affected by sudden cardiac arrest each year. And more than 90% of sudden cardiac arrest victims die. 1.74 deaths across the United States are attributed to sudden cardiac arrest. And your chance of survival decreases about 10% for every minute that passes without treatment during sudden cardiac arrest. Deaths from sudden cardiac arrest alone It's the #1 killer, more than Alzheimer's, assault with firearms, breast cancer, cervical cancer, colorectal cancer, diabetes, HIV, house fires, motor vehicle accidents, prostate cancers, and suicides combined. 10,000 sudden cardiac arrests annually occur at work in the United States. Compare that figure to the 350,000 that occur everywhere. That means we're putting AEDs in businesses for the 10,000, but the other 340,000, they're not available. So what's the solution? The solution is the AED smart monitor cabinet. Like Senator Hall mentioned, it actually has 3 components to it. Inside the red box there is the AED that's housed there. If you look at the handout that we gave you, on the bottom inside is the AED that's selected as a AED that actually plays a video. So there is no language barrier. You press start and it shows you exactly what to do and how to do it. It's a smart monitor cabinet on a stainless steel cabinet. Stainless steel cabinets, by the way, I like to say, are made in Holdingford, Minnesota. Good to get a reaction out of that.
Good.
Appreciate
That's
that.
Minnesota's good.
So you have stainless steel cabinet, the AED, then the red cabinet, along with the being heated and being cooled. The question I'd say is, have you ever had your cell phone in your car in the summertime and you went to grab it and it says too hot, needs a minute or 2 to cool down? That's the same thing that happens with an AED if it gets too hot. Currently in the state of Minnesota, there are AEDs that you could go grab and you could use, and they would not work because it would be too hot or too cold. The other thing that I want to mention is that inside that red cabinet, when you open the cover, there's a burst of photographs that is taken. And when you grab the AED, a second burst of photographs is taken, and we can determine to which authorities that goes to and sends it off to. There is an Apple AirTag is attached to the AED for GPS tracking. So if someone was to take it and bring it home, we'd be able to use the sky to find that AED and retrieve it, and no one would be any the wiser. There's planning and mapping site selections when we work with all the people around the area so that they're aware of that. We register with the state and national registries, and inclusion in 911 county mapping if applicable, like Stearns County. Stearns County has an overlay on there. So if you call 911 and you talk to dispatcher, they can press a button and all 482 AEDs that are in Stearns County come up and tell the dispatcher where it is located. So they can tell the person where they can go to get them. So the question is, why do I need an AED smart monitoring system? Well, national statistics show that 35% of the AEDs have expired batteries or pads. Most recently, we did a presentation in Wilmer, Minnesota. We were at the Legion. We walked in to give our presentation and asked if they had an AED. After 10 minutes of searching, they found it. We then opened it up and found that the batteries were expired, and so were the pads. It was inoperational. So our system actually tracks and lets people know in advance when the pads and when the batteries are going to expire. By the way, when we did Stearns County, we actually went out and interviewed all 482 AEDs that were out there, and we found about 25%. So we brought them all up to speed. An AED outdoor cabinet is exposed to high and low temperatures. It monitors that and lets us know below 25 below zero for 3 days solid, we didn't have a problem. It also has a built-in battery backup if power goes out to keep it functioning. Minutes after sudden cardiac arrest, when you open it, minutes matter. So when you open up the cabinet and you grab it, it automatically calls a call center. Originally, we thought we should have a call 911, but no one's going to stand around waiting to talk to 911. They're going to grab the AED and head back to where the event is. It triggers a siren and sends text messages during emergency. When the cabinet's open, the alarm's triggered, the light's fine, photos are taken. When the AED is removed, it's triggered emergency monitoring center, 911 is dispatched. If needed, a second burst of photos is taken and the Apple AirTag's attached and goes with it. We are definitely in need of this. The state of Minnesota has a law, I believe, on the books that says every high school should have an AED. They're available down by the track and things where it's located outside facilities. What we found out is that they put them in in a cabinet or in a building down below, and they give somebody the key. And unfortunately, you got to have the key and then figure out how to find it to get in it and in its manner. So there's a lot of good things that are happening. State of Minnesota has a law in the books that every high school student is trained in CPR every year. It's being done. However, you know, we, the older generation, don't all know CPR. I guess I kind of ask a question here. How many of us in this room know how to do CPR? Okay, this is good. We got a few. How many of you know where the closest AED is to your house? That's the problem. Thank you for an opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you. My name is Rich Fenice. I am the founder of Advocates for Health. Joel and I have known each other for over 35 years, and he's been working to raise money for AEDs, for having golf tournaments and that sort of thing. And we worked with Centricare Foundation in St. Cloud to get as many AEDs out in the community. I live on Pine Point, which is north of Sartell, and Joel had mentioned to me that we had the possibility of getting access to an AED through one of the grants from Centricare. I raised money to put an outdoor AED smart monitor cabinet in my community. And this was more of a neighborhood project for me. There's 50 people who live in a dead end street. And it was something I wanted to do for my neighborhood. We end up in the summer or the winter of 2018, 2019, a new term called the polar vortex hits us. And I kept watching and monitoring the AED in this cabinet, fully expecting that we'd have to take it out because it was going to freeze. It made it through the process, which just amazed me. I went back to Centricare in the March of 2019 and said, I'm looking for a project to do. I'm retired, but this is something that I really think that Central Minnesota needs, and that's what we focused on originally. Centricare eventually, I asked for monies for more AEDs on a matching grant situation, and with the idea that we would do what we did in Pine Point and other neighborhoods. The next day, they asked how much I wanted, and I didn't have any figure in mind. I threw $25,000 out there. The next day, they said, yeah, let's do it. We went from there and worked with cities, Cold Spring, Richmond, Avon, Sauk Rapids, Central Minnesota area. And we've now got 105 of these units out there. We've had 2 saves so far. The thing about the difference that a save makes to a family, it's just immeasurable. It's one of those things where this person gets to see his kids grow up, gets to see his walk his daughter down the aisle. I've got 3 daughters. That's very important consideration to me. It just makes a difference. The issue with survivability, with COVID going on and everything else in the world, for whatever reason, 350,000 people a year die year after year after year of sudden cardiac arrest. And the vaccine, if you will, is an AED. Without that, you can do all the compressions you want. Eventually, you got to shock the heart back into rhythm again. So this is something that just from a personal standpoint, every family is affected by someone that has heart disease. And so what this is doing is giving more people a chance to survive by being accessible. Especially with COVID, everything was locked up. There just isn't any accessibility. This is accessible. We're putting it, we now have it at high school fields in Cold Spring and working on different other areas where so that there's immediate access. Right now, Joel had mentioned, the American Heart Association talks about a 3 to 5 minute response time. No matter how good your emergency services are, where I live, 20 minutes is normal. Well, you're dead by that time. This is giving a chance for bystanders or whatever to save a person's life before EMS gets there. We want to work with EMS. We're not replacing them. This is just a step in the process.
Okay, all good from anybody else that would like to?
And I'd like Caitlin Gill to come up and testify. I think she's listening.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Gilk. I work for Advocates for Health. So I am
Welcome
a
to the
senior in
committee.
high school. And in 2019, I started the process of achieving my Girl Scout Gold Award. So the Gold Award is the highest award you can receive in Girl Scouts. I've been in Girl Scouts since I was in first grade. And this is something I've always wanted to do. So I started the process and thought of ideas and things like that. And my mom actually helped Rich and Joel put 16 outdoor AED cabinets in Richmond and Cold Spring. She gave me the idea to do this for my Gold Award project. Now, it was a huge thing. Most girls my age would not be able to raise the $22,000 that I did at 16 and 17 years old. So that is what I did to place AEDs outdoors around Painesville. So one of the first things I had to do was go around Painesville and see, okay, where are these AEDs and why would I need to put them outdoors? Well, I realized we have over 20 in Painesville, but all of these businesses are only open 8 to 5. There's none near parks where all these families are playing in all summer long on the weekends when all those businesses aren't open. So if someone went down in those parks or outside the school's not open on the weekend, even though there's a park that's open 24/7 for all the kids. We have a splash pad in Painesville. There's no buildings near that. All these homes in Painesville, no AEDs near that. So I raised $22,000 to place AEDs outdoors so that people would have 24/7 access to this near their homes, near where they walk on the sidewalk, where I go to school, all those things. So that is what I did. So I think this is really important that everyone has that 24/7 access to AEDs.
Well, that's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was a lot of hard work and,
Yes.
boy, there's a lot of organizations that would love to know how to make that kind of money in that short period of time.
Hire Caitlin.
That's not mom behind you, is it?
No.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Members, any questions at all? Senator Dibble.
I just also wanted to echo my admiration. That's tremendous leadership, and thank you. Makes a huge difference in people's lives. My dad had a heart attack, so I know the difference it makes. So thanks very much.
Thank you. Senator Eaton.
I wanted to express support for this bill. I think it's a great idea. The question I have for the author is, what are we doing in 8 years?
Senator, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Senator Eden. Good question. The thing is I believe that in 8 years, there will probably be new technology out there and we'll probably need to upgrade these AEDs and we'll probably have to, you're right, we'll probably have to look at this again. But I would hope that the cabinets are still there. Hopefully they're still functioning and replacing AED would be the cheap part of the deal. So I think that's where we're at. So.
Let me follow up.
Well, thank you. I thank you for bringing this forward and for your work. And this will probably save many lives.
Thank you. How many of these units are out in Minnesota now? You may not have covered that.
We started in 2019 as Advocates for Health, and I believe on the way down here, someone ordered 3 more from us from a meeting I was at last night, but we're up to about 119, I believe. Jessica's nodding her head, yes. So that's how many, and that's just going.
Those are outdoor ones?
Those are outdoor ones. One of the things I'd just like to add is the 3 complaints that we always get is that someone's going to steal them, and we've covered that with that Apple tag. They're going to freeze in the winter. That's covered with the heater. The third thing that I forgot to mention is someone's going to take them and they're going to put it on their buddy who might be intoxicated and shock them as a joke and push the start button. You can't do that. You hook up the AED to them and it tells whether or not to shock. It doesn't even give you a red shock button. And then once at all. And the only way it can shock is if the heart is asking for a shock. So you can't really kill anybody.
Yeah, that's amazing.
There's a lot of misconceptions about AEDs that we have found, and testimony we got a short amount of time, but we're really looking forward to the sponsor of this and getting out and educating Minnesota on this and putting them in the locations that we've requested at the schools, at the wayside rests, at
So there's
DNR
a,
landings.
so there's a lot of schools, I think, that have them now, but there's, where you're lacking is the outdoor ones. That's what you're talking
Correct.
Correct.
It was interesting because Holdingford, Minnesota, Caitlin had installed a unit at Holdingford this fall, and she actually, Holdingford was playing Painesville, and she's in the audience, and one of the students on the field goes down. And she's there, she goes running down there. Another student who had been trained on the AED and CPR from Holdingford goes up, gets the AED and brings it down to the field. The kids knew what to do. Now, he had an injury other than his heart, but they had it there and it was ready to go.
The other thing that I'd like to mention is that this is a program that we're talking about a certain number per school district. This will only be the beginning of a program. When we go to a school district, what we really want to do is have a community program and get people to sponsor more AED units in the city and the area and that sort of thing. This is just the beginning as far as that goes, but it's a great jump start.
Sure is. So the workings of it, you say there's a heater and there's a cooling system in there. Is that battery operated? It's not direct?
They have to be hardwired. May I just go?
It has to be hardwired?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there is it's about $6 a month to keep the heating and the cooling going there. Did you want me just to show you? Can I go over there for a minute?
Yeah, and I've talked to the DNR. They're very interested in this, and their boat landings, that type of thing, do have most often a light there, so they have electricity there. So
it isn't something you could take, throw in the boat quick and run out and give it.
Well, you could take the AED out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's portable, but yeah, so there's the AED.
What happens is you come and you open it, here's the camera that's built in there. If I leave you in here, as soon as I open the door, it takes the first 12 photos. We don't tell them that.
No.
All right. So then you really don't have to do anything if they close it back on. We get it electronically. They grab AED and the second person's taken and they take off. You can see the big video display on here. It's there, and then the red shotgun that's here as well. So that talks you right.
Talks you right through it.
Yeah. We have to make sure that this was ADA compliant. That's why you have to stand so someone in a wheelchair can come up and they can hold this up. We also had to have it UL certified, which we've gotten this. This is all ready, set, go.
It's amazing.
By the way, if you use the badge and it talks you through it and it does everything, the question people said, we got to put batteries in it right away. And the answer is no. Cold Spring officer Harry Boucher used his AED 20 times in Cold Spring before he had to replace the batteries. It amazes me how many calls Rich and I get in the central Minnesota area where we're not only sometimes we don't save a life. We had a situation where the gentleman was taken to the hospital and a week later he passed away. We went to the wake and we were talking to him and we were kind of disappointed and it was so bad and things like that. But the family told us, you don't get it. We got to say goodbye.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Where they wouldn't have had that chance. We had numerous ones like that.
That's crucial. Okay, very interesting. Very so what we'll do, I guess, is look at this and we'll be holding it over. DNR Parks and Trails Division, we do have somebody from DNR that would like to come up, or are they online? They're online, okay. Jamie McBride.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members. My name is Jamie McBride. I'm with State Parks and Recreation, with Parks and Trails and the DNR. I am the State Parks and Recreation Area Program Consultant. We understand and support the importance of the defibrillators, and we'd like to learn much more about them. And we've already learned just in this testimony a lot more, and some of the questions that we have already started to be answered just by listening to that. On a personal note, I was on site where there was somebody many years ago that could have used a defibrillator and he didn't end up making it. And I think it was prior to the technology being around. It was 20-ish years ago. They weren't as easily accessible at that time, as far as I understand. I wasn't the person that provided the direct CPR, but I was helping with the crowd. And it was, if there was a defibrillator, maybe that would have made a difference. Parks and Trails does currently have some AEDs in state park buildings. I don't have a specific number, but we do, that is just a demonstration of how we do recognize the importance of them. And we'd really like to continue talking with the bill author to help answer some of the implementation questions that we have. And it's very clear that Advocates for Health has a really solid bit of information that we could use as we move forward.
Thank you. I'm wondering if you would get the number of AEDs that are in the parks and how many are indoor and or outdoor. Apparently none of them are outdoor, I don't think. But it would be nice.
I can get back to you on that.
That would be great. Either myself or the author, that'd be good.
Okay.
Members, any questions from the DNR? Seeing none, members, thank you very much, everybody, for the testimony. And we'll be laying Senate File 3410 over for possible inclusion.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you.
Thank you, members.
Members, there's nothing else before the committee, so we stand adjourned.